Where's your
What's that, Erica?
Where's
We're
your
recording. We are recording. Let me see if I can get him on. Hi, Holly. I sent him a reminder and I don't know if he's coming or not.
Hi, Holly. Hello.
Okay, we are going to we're gonna just like open it up right now. We're recording. It's Heal the Hate. Who's feeling any hate and who's feeling anything they want to heal, and what are you seeing around you that needs to be healed, and let me give you a heads up. If you see it outside of you, it may be something that is a reflection internally as well of something that may be going on inside. So let's look at what we're seeing, see if we can find it, and see what we can do for ourselves so that we can make a bigger place in the world, make something happen in the world. So who wants to go first? And let's just check in, and then we'll see if there's anything in particular that we want to focus on today. Holly, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Doctor, I know a little bit of what's going on
earlier. Yeah. So my husband got tested positive for COVID a couple of days ago, and he got it while he was at work. He works remotely. I mean, he works like away from, like he goes away for work for 2 weeks solid and then comes back for 2 weeks. So I haven't seen him. He's in quarantine in a hotel right now. He's fine. He has a fever. It went down though, so he's just got a really bad flu. That's what it's like. He's doing okay. I'm checking in on him by phoning him and leaving him things in front of his hotel room door. And I think that triggered, I told all my immediate friends and neighbors in the neighborhood here, and I think that triggered some really deep-seated reactions to COVID hitting close to home, because nobody around here has had it yet, and it's really caused some interesting reactions. And one of those is, well, two of those are based in like conspiracy theories and paranoia and just like racism and stuff like that. And one of the responses, one couple 2 doors down went and got the vaccine, so that was their response to it. Mm-hmm. But my immediate next door neighbor, I was walking the dogs yesterday, and he stopped me in the street. He was driving back from work, and he wanted to know how James was. And so we got in a conversation, and right away he blamed getting the virus on immigrants. And I was just kind of shocked that was his narrative that he clung to. And then that was just the tip of the iceberg. He went on and on about conspiracy theories and how he's armed and he's ready to fight to the death in case the vaccination passports come. And I mean, he was getting really wound up, and I was trying to like de-escalate the conversation, try not to have any reactions that like outed me of thinking he's absolutely crazy. And I was also trying to be in love and try to understand where he's coming from. So I was asking some questions just to understand better, but all the information that he was quoting was from like a QAnon source or something worse, and it just went sideways. Anyway, cars kept on coming, so he got to keep driving, and I got to continue on my walk. And then I called another neighbor, and he right away said a prayer, sending condolences, very open, loving, and then he said it's the immigrants. So that's how we got and we're in the South. We're not a border state, but it has this narrative that's the other. And that same neighbor that I called up and said it was immigrants, he said the other day that Joe Biden is causing the virus in the South to get Southerners sick because they didn't vote for him. That's the mentality. And that's like, he's a smart guy. I don't know how educated he is, but he's not like, he's well respected in the community. So it's not just him that thinks this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that I'm trying to deal with that.
Well, I am just, oh man, Holly, it's one thing to be dealing with your husband and the fear and the illness and all that you're having to deal with in your own personal emotional bubble, then to deal with this outside pain and insanity can really hurt. I'm just so sorry. Hey, Dad.
Okay, now we can really start.
Now we can start. Now we can start. Dad is here. We can now start. Can you hear us, Dad? I think this is the first time he's ever done the Zoom by himself without me doing it. Can you hear Dad? Not yet. Dang
He's
it.
working on it. You can rename him to be Dr. Bill or something if you want. You
Dad,
don't have to, but
Dad.
right now he just has his phone number up so someone can call him.
All right. Connecting to audio. Here we go. Wait
He's
for it.
connecting. He's
Wait for
connecting.
it.
This is
Wait
so
for it.
exciting when our family can do this. Our older generation can do this. We get so excited.
Oh, wait. And now it's muted. I'm going to ask to unmute. Wait for it. Wait for it. Can you unmute? Bottom left corner. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yay!
Did
Oh.
Hey, Bill! It's good to see you here, Dad.
Oh, there's Holly.
you got all right. And on your phone, swipe to the left and you can see Holly and Erica and Doyle and Kimberly. Oh, and you just
Oh,
muted yourself.
hasn't muted himself.
You muted yourself. Swipe the other way. My bad. Swipe the other way. Bottom left corner. Bottom left corner.
This is so much fun.
Bottom left corner is the mute button. Okay. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Well, Holly was just telling us that her husband just got COVID and has quarantining in a hotel room, and all the different responses she's getting from neighbors and everybody blaming immigrants and Biden and conspiracy theories and everything else. So I was just saying that it's challenging enough to have your own fears and everything that's going on in your personal bubble with your husband, to say nothing of your neighbors and everybody else, trying to keep your head above the waterline and not, just kill people like with all this big emotion. I mean, that's hard. It's hard to have, not to hit rage with rage and to hit fear with fear and to hit hurt with hurt. And sometimes it really sucks to always be the one that's having to take the high road. So I just want to say that. So, Doyle, you want to respond to what Holly said and kind of catch that up while we're at it?
Sure.
Hello, Doyle.
How are you, Bill?
Good, good.
The misinformation that is running around the internet continues, and the negative memes out there draw more people to them than the positive ones. So, how to counteract it is simply ask questions. Really? Tell me more. And so that, and then every once in a while you may be able to interject this, well, if it's the border crossings that are causing it, why are there so many in Florida? That, and simply, try and put a little chink in the wall that has been erected in there. I'm in the middle of a project at my church. The prayer practitioners get one Sunday a year where we do the whole show. And we're going to do a healing service. We're going to basically take fears and feelings of lack and limitation that people have felt over the last 17 months and listen to it. Let the congregation yell out whatever these words are. And then the next thing is, okay, what do you want in their place? What do you want to replace those feelings with? And then we're going to build a prayer right there and heal the congregation.
I love it.
Because we have all, at one point or another in this pandemic, succumbed to fear and loneliness and all of these emotions and feelings that are less than godly.
Mhm.
Not to mention the political nonsense.
Right, right.
This is
So-
beautiful. That is really beautiful.
And that's going to be not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday. So we get to do this rehearsal. And the odd thing for me is I'm the one that stepped up and got it started. It's like, as opposed to just like, oh, I'll go along for the ride. No,
Go Doyle. Woo, 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 woo. Way to be a leader, man.
and one of the things that I have wound up quoting to several people, if you see it, it's yours to do. If you see that there's something going on that's not quite right, well, you need to step up
Yep. Yep.
and make a difference. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Right on. Right on. Boo Wah Doyle.
So I'm not necessarily feeling the hate. I'm feeling the love.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Kimberly, what's your response to Holly and this topic?
I think that it's sad that people are like just
You said
being, I've heard all of these things. I mean, like one of my friends, she's like a total, I'm surprised she's not on here because she sent out the email. She's really into the conspiracy theories, so I've heard all of these theories. I don't know what to believe, to be truthfully honest. I don't believe that anybody really knows, except for the people that might be in the midst of it. I don't know what really is an answer or any of it. I'm just here to maybe get some answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how are you personally feeling with all the different information and not knowing what to believe, and how are you
Well, I have to believe just what is what's truthful for me, and a lot of people are, now it's all about, do you have the vaccination, and do you have the, did you get the COVID shot? And it's like, well, I know for myself that there are I don't know how many cases now, but there was 9 cases of people who had aneurysms from and died from this shot. So for me, that's a realistic thing for me, because I've had 2 aneurysms in my brain, and I don't care what any doctor says. If there's a case of somebody having an aneurysm, I don't want the shot. Like, I don't want it. I don't care how many cases there weren't. I want the cases that were, there was 9 of them, and like none of them lived. Like, why would I want to take that chance with my own life? So when a doctor says, oh, but there's only been 9 cases, That's 9 cases too many for me, just to be truthfully honest. I don't care how many people have had the shot, how many of them have blood clotting disorders. That's what I want to know. Like, I'm not asking like the normal questions of what more normal people would ask. I'm pertaining them to my own self, because I want to make sure that I'm safe. Like, I don't care, I understand that everybody else wants to assume that they're safe. I haven't had COVID, and I didn't, and I just follow the rules that are in the stores. If I'm not in the store, then I don't wear my mask, like I'm just out in nature or out with my friends. And if we're a small group, I just pay attention to like who I'm hanging out with, and like I don't hang out in bars. It seems like more public places are where people get a little bit more you drink, and then you get less attentive to what's going on inside of you, and it also breaks your immune system down. And I don't want to be, I pay a lot of attention to my own body, and keep my own self healthy, so that I don't get people around me sick. And I pay attention to that. So I just make sure that I'm healthy, and then I can be around people and not have to worry about all of the other stuff. But one of the things right now is like I'm dating. And so people are like, so are you vaccinated? No, I'm not. Is that a problem? Well, yeah, it kind of is. Why? Why is that a problem? Oh, because, you need to be vaccinated. Well, I don't feel safe vaccinating myself. Oh, because of all this, all these rules, like because you think you're going to turn into a zombie. No, that's really not why. Like mine isn't the typical reasons, because there's blood clots that could happen. And oh, so you're not like one of these theory people? Like, no, really. I don't even watch the news. I don't even know what's going on, to be honest. So it's all for my own knowledge and what I hear from other people. But I hear a lot of people are losing jobs, or like my friend Stephanie, like she's losing massages because they're asking if she's vaccinated. And that's what I see. I the pain that it's causing for all of my friends that are like in businesses that have to do with the public and stuff like that. Because I have my own business, but nobody asked me if I'm vaccinated,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this is what is so, oh man, it's so critical, and we are so split in the world. And how do we keep bringing love and acceptance when we see things differently, when we are getting our own intuitive hit on what is right for me? How do we keep bringing love to that space? And I think asking questions, Doyle, I think sharing your own perspective, Kimberly, and where you're coming from, and helping people understand, and there's no easy answer for this. Erica, what's your take to what Holly's going through and what she brought up? You're muted.
I didn't quite catch where Holly is in the world, but
She's
so
in Georgia, Atlanta,
Georgia.
Georgia area.
Wow. I think my uncle just turned 80 there today. That I had to call him back. Good to know. So I am kind of being, not to change the subject, or it's a lot of different things, it sounds like, with the people that have shared so far. I am just concerned about what's going on in Afghanistan right now, where people are being killed for no reason other than they're not Taliban, or I don't even know enough to really understand it. And I think people don't understand the complexity of medical issues that are going on. Like, so I just think that we are experiencing a genocide right here on this planet. And we in the United States, how do we hang out here while that's happening there? or is this a UN thing to take action? Is this a, I just wonder what's the right next step, because the US has withdrawn or withdrawing themselves from that thing that they've been there for that many years. And then there's a witnessing of mass murder going on. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about all the different kind of complexities. I just came off of a meeting with my group that I'm a president for, this networking group, and we are like pausing on trying to get back in person in the near future because of the Delta variant, because of that. And because we were like kind of like, yes, let's do it, let's do it. There's, there we had a certain percentage that was like, yes, let's go. And now we're just sort of putting a pause on that because people are getting COVID, whether they're vaccinated or not, things are happening for people. And anyway, I have come across the country with that Dr. Beth over there. I have seen people all over the country. I have seen my nieces, everybody's that is in my sphere has been safe. Thank goodness. I'm so sorry you're going through that ignorance, Holly. And I have a client who they had the vaccine and then they just got a Delta strain COVID for the second time. Like there's shit going down that is not pretty, and it can be very scary. So I'm just putting it out there, what is in my thinking right now. There's a lot of depression I'm experiencing with the people in my life, like being depressed about what's happening in the world. And there's health challenges going on. So that's what's going on in my mind right now. And how do I stay center in all of that and holding for a lot of people?
Yeah. Well, just to catch up, Melanie, Holly's husband has COVID, and he's in a hotel right now in quarantine, and she's had a lot of people around her blaming immigrants and blaming Biden and blaming a lot of hurtful reasons, and how challenging that is. I think, Erica, I too have a lot of people around me, and there's so much unknown, and there's just so much unknown. And one of the things that Doyle was talking about was bringing it to his church and letting people share their fears, and letting people also share what they'd like to replace their fears with. And what I'm inviting us to do is, one, share our fears, share our feelings, and then create intentions on where we want to go with this, and how do we make sense of some of this. I too am dating, and it is, and I'm vaccinated, and I stay pretty close to the literature and a lot of the studies. And I had the Pfizer vaccine, and what I understand now about the Pfizer is it's about 50% reliable of getting COVID. And
You mean like reliable from the Delta, or reliable
right,
50% from the Delta? So
I think it's the Delta, but it's about 50%, and but it's 85 to 95% not going to the hospital, not dying. 85 to 95 doesn't mean you can't die, but like Kimberly was saying, having the potential of having aneurysms. Everything I hear from the doctors there are people that can't get the vaccine, and they're not pressuring people that or whatever to get the vaccine. I think a lot of people that have the vaccine are scared, and I think a lot of the people that don't have the vaccine are scared. And how do we get out of fear and back into love is kind of where I am with the whole thing. where, you know, we all drink from the same water, we all drink from the same air, we all impact each other. So how do we act caringly without shaming each other and without creating more fear for each other? So that's kind of where I am. Dad, you are now kind of caught up and you can help catch up Melanie. So what's your take on all this?
Well, first of all, why can I only see 4 people?
You have to move when you're on your phone, you have to move one way or the other way. If you move one way, it mutes it. If you move it the other way towards the left, then you can see more people.
Oh, there they are. That was good. Okay. Now I can see Holly and okay, very good. There's
You can
Erica.
keep swiping.
Yeah, and Melody, there you are. Hi. Well, I think Doyle's comment was strong. I felt like asking questions is the key
Recording in progress.
to learning and understanding. And I think that's, I heard a guy on television the other day thinking that he had the answer to how to change people's point of view. And it was in active listening, which is consistent with what Doyle was saying, that sometimes when we hear our own voices, we have a tendency to rethink what we believe. And if we listen to ourselves intently, we often have the answer, and that answer is probably the best answer for us to follow. So hearing that, and then hearing Kimberly, it makes me want to ask her about those the reports about 9 people having the aneurysm. I had not heard that, and so that would challenge me to know more about that. Is that something in the literature that is that been printed, or is that coming from?
I guess it's on the CDC site. That my doctor told me about it, and he's the one that actually told me I don't feel comfortable giving you the shot or you even having it. And then I went to another doctor who doesn't really know my case, doesn't know that I've had 1,500 strokes and 2 aneurysms in my brain, and he says, "Oh, I feel totally comfortable giving you this shot." And I said, "Well, good thing you're not my doctor." And he says, "Why is that?" And I've said, "Because I've had 2 aneurysms and I've had 1,500 strokes." And he says, "I would still give you the shot." And I said, "And I'm glad you're not my doctor. So I guess we'll have a good day and I'll just go past my day and just move on past this." But it just shows me how much my doctor cares, that he cares because he doesn't even have the COVID shot. My doctor doesn't. He uses my products and he swears that is the reason why he doesn't have COVID. And I've never had COVID, but it just really depends. And so he told me it's on the CDC, and even my daughter knew about it. And my daughter has a blood clotting disorder too, but she did not have any issues. But I have 2 blood clotting disorders, not just one. I have 2. And so it's just super scary. That probably scared me more than having COVID, but I've heard that COVID can cause all kinds of issues with your blood too. So I don't know what to believe, and I don't know what always to be factual, because there's a lot of stuff just floating around out there.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm asking the question. I haven't heard that, and that causes me to want to follow that up with
I guess it was the Johnson & Johnson shot.
say that again.
It was the Johnson & Johnson shot that gave people the blood clots.
Oh,
So
okay.
that I do know that it was one shot. So I don't, whatever they used in it.
Oh, I know. I did hear about that. Yeah. Yep. Well, what else, Dad? What else did you, anything you're personally feeling fearful or loving or hateful or anything?
I'm missing you being here at the house, I hate to say that. I mean, I do want to say that. And I wish you would come back and move back where you belong. You know, you belong in Nashville, but I'm not going to put any pressure on you, for crying out loud. And the only other thing I would have to say is words to Holly. I'm very, very concerned about her husband. And that really does make me feel for you, Holly, and just hate that that's something that you're going through. He's in a hotel somewhere. Is that right? Yeah. How's he doing?
It's like he's got a bad flu, so he's okay. He's got a lot of symptoms, but he's not getting worse, so that's good.
Well, I'm sure sorry. That's all I had to say, Beth, except hi, Erica. I haven't seen you since you were here at the house eating food and playing with dogs and whatever.
All right, and Melanie, you want to jump in here? Anything that you're feeling, just kind of give us
Yes.
where you are?
Oh my gosh, I'm just sad because, everybody's fighting over this, like over who's to blame. It's got, and it's on both sides. Who's to blame for the cases, rising now. And I'm trying not to be in a space of fear because I'm not afraid of getting the vaccine. I don't want to make a decision out of fear. So it's funny that we're discussing the whole, like, how to release some of that fear, because I feel like when I am in fear, my decision making is obviously not at its best. And so I had to ask myself, like, for me personally, and I'm sorry if people may find this offensive, I didn't get the flu shot because when I used to get the flu shot, I would get very sick. And then I never, like, when I didn't get it, I didn't get sick. And it's not to say that, that's, I don't know why, but I have a bad reaction to medications and whatever. Like, if I take like a medication, most likely I'm going to get the side effects. Whatever the side effects are, I get them. I took something to stop smoking. What was that thing called? Chantix. And, all of the side effects that you could get, I got them. And so while I don't have any underlying condition that says I shouldn't get it, there is that worry of what could happen if I do, because, past experiences have shown that I don't do well with whatever, the medications going in my body, whatever it is. But and then there was like, okay, well, should I just get it? Everybody wants me to. People are looking at me. And then that starts looming in on you, like, oh my gosh, everybody's judging me. And then I had to remember, like, I love me. I'm not worrying about what other people think about me. I'm making my decision not based, like, do I believe in certain things? Do I listen to different stuff and different sides of it? Yes. Am I unsure or which information is completely correct? Yes. Am I not getting this vaccine because I'm afraid it's going to turn me into a robot, or I'm going to grow a tail? Or no, that is not why. Like, I have heard those things, yes, but that is not the reasoning. And I guess I just start worrying that, oh, everybody's going to think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist, and that's why I'm not doing it, and blah. But that is not the reason. Number one, I am a little worried about what the side effects will be. Will it take me out of work? Will I be like, there's a couple things, like, there is some worry behind it, but I had made my decision, and I don't want to let the fear of what society is going to say about me change that. And if I have to take it, if it becomes mandatory for me to work and for me to live and be able to function in society, yes, I will. But the hatred behind, like, people, if you have a question or if you say there's something, oh, well, how many side effects here and what happens here and what about this? And people are just hateful. And that is the part that's just overwhelming right now. And it's crazy. There's such a divide. And I feel like we got to stop blaming and just look for a solution. We're blaming, we're looking for someone to blame. First it was bats, then it was then it was something else. And it's just all this fear. The statement, it just keeps ringing in my head. The meme that I saw, it's like fear causes anger, anger causes hatred, hatred causes suffering. And it just keeps ringing in my head, like we have to somehow release all this fear that is out there. We got to start having some clarity, figure out, okay, how do we fix this? We can keep blaming people and keep bashing people for making one decision or another, or we can figure out a solution to
And really, and Melanie, really listen to each other. Seek to understand, and before we make assumptions that somebody's an idiot because they won't take a vaccine, find out if they have aneurysms, find out if they've had 15,000 strokes, find out if they've had past experiences with with medication. And I think it is so critical. I got a note from one of my friends' brother, who's a doctor, and the people that are in the medical field that are on the front line that are dealing with this surge right now, they're really angry with the non-vaccinated people. And I get why they're angry, because they're scared. They're scared they're going to get it. They're afraid they're going to be exhausted. They're afraid they're not going to be able to help people. And, I think we're all being called right now to find every ounce of love that we never even knew we had. Every ounce of love. And we're going to be tested with our brothers. We're going to be tested with our siblings. We're going to be tested with our, that crazy uncle or that crazy client or that crazy neighbor.
I just had an incident that I was very, I have to say I was proud of myself, but I went to it wasn't a family gathering, but my family was there. It was kind of like a thing for my stepmom, and I was isolated to a table by myself because I was the only one who wasn't vaccinated. And I said, okay. I said, the thing is, like, next time you have an event and I'm invited, like, that information, I don't judge you. I understand. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not mad at you. However, I would appreciate if you let me know that would be the case. Me and my daughter are going to be put to a table by ourselves. Like, this is what's happening. We're being isolated because and the thing is, my first instinct is anger. Like, you idiots, like you guys are vaccinated. I should be worried. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Excuse my language. And of course, I can't help but have that, especially because my daughter is dealing with it. And I'm like, and I can understand that they're coming from a place of fear, but I changed that and I went to a place of love and compassion. And I was like, they're living, none of us are not in fear. I'm not going to act like, oh, I have no fear, but I think that I'm in a place where I'm able to deal with my emotions and kind of like deal with it in a way that I'm like, okay, fear is coming up, but I'm not going to allow it to run me. and I'm trying to, but we were pretty much isolated, and that's not a great feeling. And I'm like, oh gosh, should we just get it? And is that the reason to get it? And it's just, there's so many things that are happening right now, and so much fear and hatred. And then after that, I just got a billion texts from my aunts and articles and people trying to convince me as if I haven't looked at all this information, as if I just went, I'm just not going to get it. Like, I go to the CDC, I look at all the information, I'm paying attention, I'm seeing the same information that everybody else is seeing. and the assumption that I'm just not, and I'm just making an opinion, like I made my decision based on nothing. Like, of course, I've looked at every article that you're sending me. I've seen the information. I've seen the statistics, the numbers, and all of that. And I still made my decision. I'm sorry that it was a different one than you made. And having people be okay with that and understand that I'm still taking whatever precautions is necessary to keep other people safe. I'm not going outside without a mask. I mean, I'm in my car without a mask. I'm alone in my car, you know. But I'm saying, like, I'm being careful. It's not like I'm just out there coughing on people. I mean, you know, it's just
Well, Melanie,
frustrated.
I get this. You know, it's kind of like when we had the smoking and the non-smokers, and all the smokers got alienated and, you know, kind of pushed out and made bad and wrong and whatnot. Just another side of it, Melanie, I had a friend come over and he was also unvaccinated. And I had just read an article on 50% of those that have had the Pfizer vaccine are able to get COVID, 50%. Like I have a 50% chance of getting it now. And
Getting the Delta variant.
yes, getting the Delta variant, which is I think 80% of all COVID right now, the Delta variant. So so I put my mask on. And I would have loved for him to have put his mask on. I didn't ask him to put his mask on, but if I'd really been honest, I would have said, you know, please put your mask on in my house. And, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings. So hi,
Do
Ariel.
that. That's what I do. I'm very conscious of the fact that I am not vaccinated. So if I'm around people, I will put a mask on. And if they say, oh, I'm not worried about it, then I'll take it off. But if, you know, I do it so that they don't have to feel that way, you know, and I am conscious of that, you know, and so, you know, I completely, you know, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm just all over the place with this right now.
No, I just,
so
I feel so much empathy, Melanie. I feel so much empathy for where you are, for where you are right now. I can't even imagine. Like if you were in the South, you'd have 90% of the people in your court. Being in the San Francisco Bay Area, you know, or in our neck of the woods, it's, you know, you've got the 90% in the other direction. And no matter where we are, no matter what's going on, the key is hating on each other, shaming on each other, thinking the other is an idiot or mean or hateful is not going to help us. The key is, how do we, my cousin, and mine is fear, my cousins who live in Arkansas, and she has you know, she smokes and has lung problems, and I'm scared to death that she's gonna get COVID, and it scares me to death. And so it's pure love that I want her to get the vaccine. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's not gonna work. Dr. Z, can you touch this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, but listen, I'm gonna set you up with a layup here. I'm gonna set you up with a layup, okay?
Okay.
There's two people on here that
Are not vaccinated.
and I love them to pieces, and I don't
And I'm
want
not
to
gonna hurt their feelings. I do the same thing with my patients who come in. I ask them, is there anything I can clarify for you about the vaccine so that you'll get it, so that you won't have to die from COVID? Because basically that's the data. So I give them MedCram, Dr. John Campbell, 2 YouTube channels that I watch every day, because why? That's the science, and that's what I base my reality on. No offense. And the data shows that the people that are dying are not vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, your chances of dying from COVID are less than 0.001%. So you can still get COVID if you're vaccinated. I was vaccinated in December and January. I could still contract the virus, but I'm not going to probably die from it, which is what we want. So that's all I say. Go and look on MedCram. There are messenger RNA viruses. They explain it all. Or Mike Hansen is another good science. He's a physician, cardiologist who explains how the vaccines work, what are the risks, what are the benefits, and clearly the benefits outweigh the risks. because it's the numbers. I mean, millions of people have been vaccinated. We don't have millions of side effects, okay? If you cherry pick side effects, yeah, you might get more myocarditis. You might have more, the women that had died on which the vaccine that they had was because maybe they were on the birth control pill, because that's a certain subset of people that have a higher risk of clotting. So yes, I get that. I get the fear. But the issue is that the hospitals are now overwhelmed with people with COVID. So and I was just listening to Dr. Campbell on the way here about the Myanmar situation that used to be called Burma. So those people are the sick people. They have no healthcare system to speak of, except unless you're with the military there. They have to hang a yellow flag out their window and hope that a medical professional may come by to help them. They have no oxygen. They've got no health system. So basically they're all dying at home. The crematoriums are full because the people don't have the vaccine. And so America, we're so privileged here that we can decide whether or not we get a vaccine, A, and B, that we're overwhelming the health systems, that there's no ICU beds for somebody like a car accident victim. So I would really be pissed off if, my son was in a car accident, he needed an ICU bed, but the ICUs are filled with people with COVID because they didn't get vaccinated. So to end this, and you don't have to get vaccinated, then don't show up in the hospital when you get sick. That's all I would ask. You're also contributing to a spread of mutant strains, which is of course what the Delta is. These are because the virus is running rampant and it's multiplying. And when it replicates, that's when it mutates. And when it mutates, then we get Delta, or the next one, Lambda. We're going to get more and more mutations, and we're never going to get rid of this thing. But so that's my rant. I mean, I just think the science obviously is on the side of getting vaccinated. You can keep a safe distance, you can keep your mask on, but this Delta one is very serious. It's affecting 30, 40-year-olds are dying from it. And they're clogging the system, man. If they just got vaccinated, maybe it wouldn't be this bad. But anyway, that's it. Thanks. Sorry. So John Campbell, Dr. Campbell from the UK, he gives an international approach, MedCram with Dr. Seaholt. He explains all of the side effects. What is the likelihood of getting struck by a bolt of lightning versus getting COVID after you have it's more likely to die of getting, hit by lightning than you are from, or you might get, even in a car accident, it's more likely than dying of COVID after a vaccine. And we get in our cars and drive everywhere. So that's.
Would you put those channels in the chat, please?
Sure.
those links.
Be delighted to.
And
I just have to figure out how to do it.
and Dr. Z, can I permission to give you feedback?
Sure. Don't be so
Often-
angry.
No. I want you to get. Are you in a place where you can handle it?
Well, the Trump people were out there at the post office again this morning. I had to call the cops. So I'm not really that excited about all this stuff. I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay.
Shoot.
Well, what I was gonna,
I can handle it.
well, what I was gonna ask is Kimberly and Melanie, if what you said was helpful or hurtful.
Probably hurtful. I don't say that to my patients. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was
Hurtful.
it?
I understand. I hear where you're coming from. So it wasn't hurtful. And I understand your fear and I understand your anger because you work and you're seeing it. And so I think I've learned, especially over the last 2 years, to come from a place of compassion, because normally in normal life, pre-COVID, me not making the same decision as you wouldn't be a clearly this or clearly that kind of scenario. It would be like, okay, but I get it. We're trying to find a reason for why it keeps ramping up and why it keeps going up and down. And the same thing happened last year and it's happening again this year. And let's blame it on the fact that people are unvaccinated. And maybe that is true. Or maybe it would have still gone up and down. We don't know. Because it did it last year. It went away for a while. Remember, it had calmed down and then it came back up. and
So
we're
Mel-
looking for
so
someone to
Melanie-
blame. We're angry. And so
Wait, Dr. Z. So Melanie, if Dr. Z had factual scientific response to that, would you want to hear it?
I'm willing to listen to all of it. It's obviously, you know, I'm still in limbo with it all. And
But
so
but I'm
if you're
saying-
asking whether it would change my opinion, like I'm
No,
always
no.
willing to listen.
No, I'm
I-
not
I
asking.
listen-
Change opinions.
No, I'm not trying to change your opinion. And Dr. Z, that's the question. Before I give any, you know, because, you know, all, Dr. Z, what you have is information based on scientific research. What I'm asking Melanie is, would that matter? And for some people, that scientific data does not
I
matter.
mean, no, it doesn't, because for me, it doesn't matter if only 9 people have died from this thing, that they died of blood clots, and that's what I have. And I was told I had an aneurysm, and only a certain percentage of people live through aneurysms, and I've had 2 of them and lived through 2 of them. I don't feel like putting something in my body that I know is going to possibly give me another aneurysm that I could not live through. I mean, I just got lucky and lived through the 2 that I have. You know, to try to put myself through something else that may save other people's lives, but kill me. I'm more about saving my own life.
Okay, Erica, and then Ariel, I know you're coming in. You're like, no, I don't want to touch that. Go ahead, Erica.
Oh, I just want to say that, you know, this is a great conversation of different ideas and opinions. And for medical choices, like, it's so great that you have someone to talk to about this in a calm way, and you can get second opinions and third opinions, and you can do your research, and you can do some more thinking about all this. And so all that to say, it's like when we are in a hype up state, it's really hard to make decisions and choice. I myself play ultimate frisbee with people who they all got vaccinated, and I was a little late to the party. I'm 51, so there was a bye, Doyle. Take care.
Thanks for coming, Doyle. Good luck
Thanks
this
for coming.
Sunday.
I was late to the vaccine party because it was just fucking awful to just try to schedule it. You have to, like, you know, have a full-time business doing that at the time. It was very challenging at the time. And I wanted to hang out more and just sort of wait and see how it was going for people before I jumped into the party. But my ultimate frisbee gals, they were like, "You're holding us up. Come on, get the vaccine." And I was like, I'm not holding you up. I could not play ultimate frisbee. I could wear my mask longer than you all. And, you know, now we're coming together and we're playing ultimate frisbee under the assumption that everyone's vaccinated. And actually someone came who was not vaccinated that I invited. I didn't know it till after the fact. And then after the fact, I'm like, when he showed up the second time, I was like, you need to wear your mask the whole time. So then he's playing and you know, every so often the mask does the usual thing of falling down the face. And I'm like, mask, you know, across the field. I'm such a mother, right? It's like, come on, Chaz, put on your mask, put on your mask. He's not vaccinated. He hasn't gotten around to it. He's 30 something. He's younger than most of us 50 somethings. And then there's the kids, and some of the kids are getting their vaccines over, they're 13 and over, and some they're younger than that. So it's, what kind of assumptions are we all playing with that we're safe? And not to create like hysteria about it, but I so appreciate, like, Bettina has seen some things, a lot of things in her practice. And the doctors that we know, they're seeing the results of not just 1 or 2 people, they're seeing the results of hundreds of people. And they have other colleagues that they're seeing the results of. And this thing is not, it's not logic. It's not linear. People are getting sick who've been vaccinated. People are getting sick who've been not vaccinated. Those not vaccinated are having a very strong, dangerous experience. And I know, Bettina, it looks like you want to say something, so go for it. But just, I so appreciate, like, this is really complex, and keep talking to your people who really have a clue. And
I don't talk to them. They're just on a YouTube channel.
Oh, that's your
But
information.
It's
you're saying?
science, yes. I don't thankfully have to see children in the ICU intubated with COVID.
Yeah.
I don't see the ICU. I don't go anywhere near an ICU. I don't want to ever be in an ICU. So I
Yeah.
just, but
Well-
what I'm saying is, there are children that are intubated in a ventilator now with COVID, and there's respiratory syncytial virus, an outbreak of that also going alongside with COVID, and we don't usually see RSV until the winter time. So the children are getting infected by at least two viruses. There's another virus, there's another influenza virus that's out there also.
What
And
is
so they're
RSV?
getting all
What
what's
is
that?
RS? What reminds?
respiratory syncytial virus. It's a
Ah.
respiratory element for children, and it's like the issue with this COVID is it's never going to go away if it's allowed to replicate, and it's allowed to replicate in people that are not vaccinated. That's what we are, the host. We
Yeah.
humans.
And
So-
I'm also I also go swimming like 4 to 5, 6 days a week. So we that swimming community is all vaccinated,
Good.
I'm pretty sure. And the usual taking our temperatures has stopped. Like before we come in, she would take our temperature, each and every one of us, before we come in, and we have our masks on.
Right.
Now the masks are off, but we're in chlorine swimming.
That
And we're,
doesn't matter. The temperature reading doesn't matter because this
Yeah.
COVID Delta doesn't cause a fever.
yeah, so it's like
It
there
causes
is this
headache.
expression, what am I pretending not to know, that maybe some of you know from like life spring trainings, et cetera. It's like, what are we pretending not to know about the way we are being in person and what we think is safe and these assumptions, and then what is actually. Luckily, I have been swimming since February with this group of people. And first it was just once a week. Now it's been 3 times a week, now 4 times a week. Now, if I can get my schedule together 5 or 6 times a week, because I really am addicted. I love it. And then I play ultimate Frisbee twice a week with a different group of people. But so far, we're all holding center. We're all doing okay. The one person I know personally that got COVID, they they almost died. They are very grateful when they could get the vaccine, and they did so, and their tail was very short. I'm very glad they were eating my plant powders and doing that protocol of eating extra clean. But this idea of like, what are we pretending not to know? Like, there is something that's going on that is beyond our religious affiliation, our creeds, our beliefs, and it's hurting people. And how do
Right.
we take our steps and stay as safe as we can? How
By
do we
getting
do that?
vaccinated.
Get vaccinated? That's one choice that Bettina is very strongly recommending, and some of us we're also like a little safer maybe, but at the same time, it's some people
Get
are-
vaccinated or stay isolated until we can get a handle on how many cases are coming down every day. The United States is still on an upsurge. We're still surging away. We don't have any, they're in Mississippi, they're putting people in the parking lot. for,
MISSISSISSIPP.
You know,
How long
because-
can you say that? How
Well,
long? And then the
you know-
governor, what's the governor in Mississippi doing? What's the governor in
Well, the
Florida?
one
doing?
in Florida is decided that he doesn't know anything about the need for ventilators. I don't think really Biden
Right.
should give them any ventilators, to be
Right,
frank.
and I'm hearing of how can that be handled, like this person who's working with me as my virtual assistant, thank goodness for virtual assistants, she is in Florida, and she and the school body of parents they're suing the governor of Florida for idiocy or for whatever his stupidity is about what his stance that is causing people to
Die.
die. Yeah.
Die.
So, I mean,
Really
like,
work.
And people are suing on the other side, suing to be forced and suing. There was somebody that was 18. They were taken care of by the doctors. The doctors were angry. The family is now suing the doctors because
For
supposedly
what?
for not caring about them because they were mad at them for not getting a vaccine.
Oh,
So-
that's a bunch of crap.
But the point is, people are suing everybody and everybody is in fear. What can we in this group with differences of opinion, how can we create a different experience. Like Holly's has her husband has COVID right now. Her neighbors are blaming immigrants on COVID.
We can stop blaming, number one.
Yeah, we stop blaming.
I mean, that's my thing. I think that there's so much anger and we're looking for somebody, it needs to be somebody's fault. And I think that that's why people are so angry. It has to be somebody's fault. All this pain and suffering. It's okay to feel that and to be like, this hurts. This is horrible. But it's not okay to start looking for people to blame, because then what starts happening is you start singling people out. And like you're saying, oh, we're going to blame immigrants. First it was, when it first came out, there were people who were Asian that were getting attacked in my neighborhood constantly. So, I think my biggest thing about it all is it's not about what your decision is, whether you decide to get it, whether you don't. I'm okay with whatever. Just like I hope that people would respect whatever decision I make. But it's about not trying to find someone to blame and hate. Why do we need to find somebody to hate? Why is that important?
Melanie, and
It's
also,
not blame and hate. I think you're mixing, I mean, I don't blame anyone. I don't hate anyone. I just don't understand them. I don't get it. I don't get the fact that there are people that will not get a vaccine, minus people who have pre-existing conditions. I get that. You're afraid of it. I would be too. I don't know what the answer is for you. But, people that it's clearly indicated, like measles, mumps, rubella, polio, smallpox. These are horrifying diseases that we got rid of because why? Well, we vaccinated everybody. So we sort of have a foundation on which to build this vaccination program. And in America, again, we're very privileged that we have healthcare that we can just go to a hospital and get taken care of, where there's places in Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, and other places where you can die at home. So this is what I don't understand about Americans. I really don't. And I have not lived here all my life. I've lived in India, Iran, Switzerland. I've lived around the world. And that's why my worldview is probably different from whoever it is down the street. I don't see is just America. I see the world. And they're talking about a booster shot for us, the healthcare people and people that are on the line, because our immunity may lag and by the time the winter comes along and we need a booster shot. Well, there's a moral problem I have with getting a booster shot. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one, because not until everybody on this planet is vaccinated am I going to get a third shot. Who am I to get a third one? That's a little greedy. So I'd rather ship my doses off to India or some other place, Siberia, where they don't have any of this, and let somebody else maybe live, because I'm probably okay because I got vaccinated at least twice. But I'll tell you, from the standpoint of being exposed to people, and I have people coming in here not vaccinated, I wear my face shield and I have to put my face shield back on. I had to put this back on because I can't get sick. I have work that I must do. So people who don't want to get vaccinated, if you want to stay home, stay home. But the problem is that your personal freedom is impinging on my personal freedom to be COVID free, because you won't get vaccinated. You may get COVID. You may not know it for a couple of days. You've been out and about, and now somebody walked by, and that's a Delta. You walk by someone in the park and you can get this Delta variant. That's how contagious it is. It can infect, R naught is like 5. The R value on COVID, Delta COVID, not the original one. So it's so much more contagious, like the measles. Remember that measles outbreak in Disney a few years ago? That's because the people weren't getting vaccinated to kill people. So
Can I ask you a question?
yes, sure.
I wanted an understanding about vaccinated. Are they able to catch the Delta variant? Right? They are, right?
Yeah.
So they're able to catch it and pass
Track
it. Yeah. So, but they're not the ones producing it. Is that what the issue is?
No, we just don't die from it. We don't have to go to the hospital and turn and become an ICU member.
Okay.
we're trying to keep people out of getting so sick. And also long COVID, I wouldn't want that on my worst enemy. There's 30-year-olds that can't run up a flight of stairs anymore because they've had COVID. They survived COVID, but now they have long-standing lung disease. They have to use inhalational steroids with. They can't run around the block. They can't do their exercise. They're short, they have fibromyalgia. They got neuropathy. I mean, I don't want any of that in my life. I don't want any young person having that either. And if it's
So-
preventable illness, get vaccinated so you don't have that. Long COVID is symptoms more than 12 weeks.
So
You got
Dr.
yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Z,
Yes.
we need you.
Okay.
We need your message. And the way, the energy behind your message, I'm afraid people are going to miss.
Oh, probably.
And what you're saying is priceless, but with the disdain and the frustration, there's so much shaming in the hearing of that, they can't hear your brilliance.
You're so cute, Dr. Beth. So I should say, wow, and have you heard of long COVID? It's really, really quite terrible. It's so terrible because, you know, you're 30 years old and you could run a half a marathon and now you can't because you didn't get vaccinated.
Okay.
No, that's a little sarcastic.
Yeah, but it's just about a tone. It's just about a tone.
It's a
And
tone. It's a tone.
I hear what you're saying, Dr. B or D or whatever
Thanks.
your last name is. Like, I want to respect your last
Z,
name.
Dr. Z, Dr. Z.
Dr. Z, Bettina Z. So I really hear your passion and your clarity and your certitude, your so 1000% certitude, like it's a beautiful thing to see you so certitudes. That's not a word, I know.
It's all good. It's all
Certain.
good. Go.
Your certainty is beautiful. And my friend Hassan, he still probably won't get the vaccine. And my friend Debbie, she probably still won't get the vaccine. And my friend Claudia, a healer, she probably still won't get the vaccine because they have something going on in their head that has them say, this ain't the thing, or they don't trust it. They haven't seen enough research. They haven't seen it, all their reasons. So there is that happening with a certain population of people, and we're supposedly a population of people that has the vaccine accessible. And meanwhile, in Canada, they're waiting for that thing, and other countries so much more than Canada. And it's just like, where is the Doctors Without Borders for this one? How do we do this? And then the people in Afghanistan, oh my gosh, how do we help them? You know, so it's a big problem, but I come from gratitude. I'm so grateful. My nieces got to come visit me and we had a great old time. We got to play with Dr. Beth and her dog, and we were safe. Everyone's safe. They traveled back and forth from this coast to that coast. They're all hanging. They're all good. And, you know, I got senior parents. I got people who are in their seniors and they're doing great. And so I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Well,
I'm so grateful. It all started with supposedly a bat and a pangolin and all this novel virus going down. And
All right,
and
let's,
now we have a new strain that's vaccine, not even vaccine cares about the vaccine. The new strain that's going on, that's spreading in Africa, that is, with all the travel going on, it'll be here in a bit. Just wait. We need more of that brilliance that created the vaccine originally to get to that strain. How do we get to that strain? So Bettina, Dr. Z, how do we deal with that?
I'm sure Pfizer is already working on it. If the FDA would just
And what do
you
you
know.
want to say, Dr. Bill? Because I want to hear from
go
you.
ahead.
you're muted, Dad.
Make sure it's with a Nashville accent when you come off mute.
And Ariel, do you want to say anything? Just put your finger up when you're ready. I want your love and wisdom here, okay? You're still muted, Dad. It's in the bottom left corner of your phone in the app.
Muted.
There you
Oh.
go.
Okay,
You did it.
I did it. And now the good news is I can see everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, as I'm listening, I'm hearing two concerns. I particularly enjoyed hearing Dr. Z, who speaks so clearly about what she knows, and this is her field. This is her. This is not a debatable thing. This is not a discussion for her. This is not something that she went to school for many years, and now is waiting, working with patients and saying, I'm not sure, I've got some thoughts. I'm reading a book on, she has to speak with clarity. And I respect that. And that's what I expect when I go to a doctor. And I've been recently, not for my own enjoyment, but because of my health, I've been with 4 different doctors of late and have had the same message. Clarity, 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 clarity. No debate, no discussion. It was just spoken. To me, that's one side of the puzzle. The other side of the puzzle is motivation. What motivates people to change? And I was just thinking in my own life about how many shots I took when I was a kid. My mother and dad had the physicians to give me whatever shots, vaccination included for sure. And then when I went into the Army, I had a whole battery of shots. I don't even know what half of them were, but they were to protect me. And particularly as I went into other countries, we didn't debate it. We were officers going into service, and we lined up, and had a table full of shots, and we just began to take them. And I will admit I wondered about a few of them. I do remember recently going in to see my doctor, and he gave me a shingles shot, and he said, "Now there are some side effects, but I'll guarantee you will. They're very, very limited." And he began to tell me the odds and the numbers and whatever. And I'd had shingles, so I knew that anything would beat what I had. And shingles are nothing compared to what we're talking about. But that's been my experience with shingles. I mean, with shots. And I'm just thinking, my motivation was different in every case. In one case, it was my parents saying, "You will take the shot." I was too young to even discuss it. In another case, I was told, if you're going to be in the Army and be in the service and travel and whatever, you want to take your pledge to the country, you'll take the shot. In another case, I was advised to take the shot. But in most cases, it's an educational thing. It's an educational thing. And the more I hear physicians speak, frankly, the more I'm comfortable with this. I listen to a lot of television, news, and whatever, and the ones I listen to are clearly biased in favor of the shots. But that's a bias, and that's entertainment. The ones that excite me are where I've either talked to a physician or a science person, because this is about medicine. It's not about likes and dislikes and are you popular or not popular. This is about saving lives. And so I guess I could find myself impatient, because I find I want all of us to live, and I want all of us to be without pain and suffering and whatever. But it doesn't seem that the motivation is being addressed like the science is being addressed. Science is their deal is over. They've concluded what they've concluded. But the motivation piece doesn't seem to be addressed in its completeness. And that to me is the bigger challenge. That is the big challenge for me as I listen to people and as I try to understand people that I know that either have or have not taken the shot. That's the big deal. My thoughts.
Well,
I find it interesting that his different, when he was a child, he had no choice because he had to take these shots because his parents said, right? Now that is where I actually, my mom gave me all the shots when I was a child, and I got measles, mumps, and rubella from the measles, mumps, and rubella shot. And that's probably another reason why my doctor is so leery about giving me the shot, is because I get all of the side effects, just like Melanie down there. I'm just very sensitive to medications and shots and all of this stuff. I mean, morphine killed me, and they had to give me a reversal shot to bring me back. So I mean, I totally get why doctors feel so passionate about this. I really do, and I understand that they don't want to see patients in the ER and stuff like that. I totally get that, and I totally get where she's coming from, Dr. Z, and I get where everybody else is coming from. I think that a lot of it is just that we have to just realize that we all have our own opinions, and I stay as isolated as I can. I mean, most of the time I'm out in nature, and that nature can't catch me, right? And I've never had COVID either. So I'm just never, so I don't understand any of this fear because I just haven't had it at all. So I don't understand any of it, other than I know people that have it and it hasn't been bad either. So that's just
well,
my.
and I think that's part of the challenge too. Sometimes it doesn't matter until it hits you. And on the people on the front line, they have hit it, and they feel angry that they're not believed. And I have been in the front line with many families, and I know so many people that have died of COVID. I can't even tell you. I mean, it would probably take me time to think of all the people that I know, but me personally, people I know personally, people I've heard secondhand personally, I know so many people that have died that it scares me to death. This 18-year-old died, this 21-year-old died, this 40-year-old died, this 35-year-old died, not just parents of people I know. So that's part of my passion. But I also know people like you, Kimberly, and you like you, Melanie, and my cousin, and that lived with me. Their whole family hasn't been vaccinated. Probably my brother hasn't been vaccinated. 2 of our 3 caregivers have not been vaccinated. And then with that group of people, I get scared for my parents, because I'm afraid that they're carrying the vaccine because they don't wear masks and they don't stay away from mom and dad. And then that's what terrifies me. So it's like, how do we take care of ourselves, make our own choices, and care passionately about the other? And I think that's what's going to heal the hate. How do we take care of ourselves, make our own choices, and be responsible with our choices, so that we don't put somebody else at risk, so that we don't put somebody else in a shameful place? Both sides of the coin. Ariel, do you want to say anything?
I was just having a conversation. This conversation surprised me. I didn't know what I was dropping into. I just came from teaching an improv class, and this was a little bit more heated than the improv class that I just came from. I love the passion, and I got a message, a great message about it's the delivery that people can hear, that will help raise people's awareness about these things, regardless of where they're at. I have there's a woman who is in a very, very similar profession than me. She's also a healer, a sound healer, and a body worker. and we were meeting the other day, and she was complaining to me that she was losing clients. But she's in Texas, by the way. I'm in California. She's in Texas, and she was complaining that she was just opening up to the public again to see her bodywork clients again and to do sound work with clients. And she was upset because they weren't coming back as fast as she wanted them to. And I said, well, what do you think it is? And she said, well, I haven't been vaccinated. And I thought it was such a strange choice for somebody that had to work with the public. I just assumed because she worked with the public that she would get, it was an assumption on my part that she would get vaccinated in that position and with that job. So that was the first experience I had where I'm like, yeah, that really is because I got vaccinated and I did have that moment of reservation. I probably didn't get it as soon as I could, but after I thought about it for a while, I really felt like it was like Dr. Z said, we got vaccinated for polio. We've gotten, there are vaccinations, whether we were consciously selected them, like Dr. Bill said, whether our parents just gave them to us. I did have a moment of where I was like, I don't know if I want to get a vaccine, when I was caught up in the fury of some politics and I was in the space of questioning people's motivations and everything. But then when I sat with it for myself, I thought for the greatest good, the vaccine made the greatest sense to me. So I was just surprised when I found, when this other person who was just, whose life mirrors me and how she deals with people mirrors me so much, made a different choice than myself. So that's the only way I can sort of relate this conversation in my own world. And I'm glad that I got vaccinated. It confuses me. I respect everybody's opinions for whatever choice they make, but I'm glad I got vaccinated because I feel like it protects my family. Yeah, I just, anyway, it's just sort of my musings about the subject, and I appreciate a space where we can house this much passion and this much inquiry. So thank you so much for hosting the space, Dr. Beth. Real different than the improv class I was just in a few minutes ago. So, but thank you for all that. Anyway, that's what I have to share about. I've been looking at this a little bit with my friend in Texas and wondering, what motivates a different choice. Just wondering.
Well, and I think, thanks, Ariel. I appreciate your share. I think the thing about this Heal the Hate class and this Heal the Hate space that we're creating together is, this one happens to be one that's hot. We could be talking about red versus blue. We could be talking about black versus white. We could be talking about straight versus gay. We could be talking about old versus millennials. How do we stay loving with each other? And how are we going to share this planet without blaming, shaming, cutting off? Because what's the easiest thing to do is just never come to this group again. That's the easiest thing. Somebody disagrees with you, don't go to the group. Somebody disagrees with you, they're no longer your friend. Somebody disagrees with you, we're not talking to them, they're in our family.
I think that's the beautiful thing. It's like I know that a lot of people weren't gonna like what I had to say or agree, and I know a lot of times that may happen, and initially I didn't want to come back when I said something, and I realized like other people have a different opinion than me, and then I realized that I needed to be brave.
Yes.
and come back anyway.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
and know that it's not the end of the world, because I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And it's okay, and it doesn't mean that we can't be friends because we don't agree about something. So I'm learning that actually through this group, because I won't lie, there were a couple times when I was in here and I was like, oh, I felt like I was on the outside of some debate or discussion or whatever, and I was like, do I go back? And I pushed myself to still come back and still engage and still enjoy the input and take in the different opinions and the different ideas. And even with this, it's like, I get it. People
Well,
don't agree right now.
I'm so grateful. Melanie, I am so grateful for you showing up. I'm so grateful for your opinion. I am so grateful for your delivery. I'm so grateful for your listening.
I am too.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for your courage.
So am I. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
weighing in on my
No.
delivery, because I
Beth?
can only do better.
And you're so
The
impactful,
way I'm
Dr.
gonna,
Z.
the way I'm gonna change it up, I'm gonna change it up. And I asked the patient yesterday, did I do okay with that? Because she wasn't that vaccinated. So I said, I said, I said, I take a deep breath and I say, is there anything that you can understand the vaccine better? That's how I start. And then they, well, and then I go into my little, whichever one they are. I talk a little bit about it and blah, blah.
Your phone's kind of cutting out.
For feedback. Dr. Beth saying to ask for feedback on how it was, what's the word, received. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
I
Z,
did.
for showing up. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. Thank you.
I love this group because I've been working on learning how not to get offended. So this is the perfect group to do that, really. I mean, but I've just like life and this whole COVID thing, it's really like helps me with not getting offended, because like I noticed that I get offensive really quick on things, on just anything. And so it's been one of the things that I've been working on, because offensive sometimes it can sometimes illustrate that you may be guilty of whatever it is. And so I'm working on, like, does this really pertain to me? Why am I getting offended? Like, why? Mirror, mirror, right? Mirror, mirror. So that is what I've been playing, mirror, mirror with myself, and not getting offended by what people say, because is it about me? No, it's really about what they say is about them. How I react is about me. So
Right. Right.
we're going to work on not getting offended. So.
Good job, Kimberly. Okay, Dad. And then I'm going to do one, we're going to go around and just what's your one word takeaway. So Dad, start us off.
This will be my one word. I'm just going to leave it with a question. I'm old enough to remember when the polio shot came into fruition. And ironically, and I'm trying like crazy to remember it, and I may be in selective memory, but I don't recall there being a big debate about it. And it was life-threatening because people were being put in iron lungs, and we knew everybody. We could see them. I mean, they were in their house in an iron lung. But I recall that was met with grandeur. It was met with excitement and energy, and everybody was singing the praise of doctors and scientists and so on and so on. And maybe it just happened to be the neighborhood I lived in, but I recall that was a very, very positive time. Now, somebody who's a historian might have a different cut on that and say, well, you didn't know all the story. And I'm sure there were people who disagreed, no doubt about that. I mean, that's not ever going to go away. But I just wonder why that would be, if what I'm saying is true, why that would be such a positive experience for society, and this is so negative. And both were life-threatening, both were scaring everybody to death, and both were, but I don't remember it being divisive. I'm just throwing that out as the question. And
Okay,
I don't know.
Dr. Z and then Erica.
You don't want me to answer that, do you? And I hope you feel better too. And thanks for weighing in also about Dr. Booth, your past. And I think that's probably why taking a vaccine was not a big deal. It was better than getting typhus when I went to India. So for me growing up, it was like, get a shot, take the sugar cube with the polio and get over it. And the reason why it's like this is because we had a fascist who was trying to take over the government. That's why we have this discussion about whether or not to get a vaccine. That's why this vaccine wasn't celebrated, because somebody wanted to take power when it didn't belong to them. And I'm going to shut up now because it's triggering my Ugh. Okay, so that's the reason. It's for the fascists want to take over this country, and that's why they politicized it.
Okay, so Dr.
I'm done.
Dr. Z, what is your personal takeaway from this call?
I got to get to an eye appointment. I'm like, oh, they're back again. They're back again in front of the post office. I had to call the cops. Oh my God, this morning. Anyway, what's my takeaway? Thanks for having it, Dr. Beth.
Awesome.
Thanks for
awesome.
having it. Thank you.
Okay,
Glad
Steph.
I came back.
Hi,
Fired
Steph.
up.
Hi, Stephanie. We're all doing one word out. So you're going to get to hear the ending of everything. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
We love having you. Okay, Erica, what's your takeaway?
So my takeaway, I mean, what she just said, but a little bit less amped up, is this thing has gotten politicized. When you were talking about you all got the vaccine, it was no big deal, it was celebrated. There wasn't a political thing. Like, right, I'm just talking slow, not to annoy you all, but to somewhat hang out in the slowness of this thing. It's like there is like this, the big R and the big D's, Republican and Democrat, you know, like the R's and the D's are like really idiots in the way that they are politicizing our safety and our health. And so, okay, you said, you know, fascist. I'm saying, well, that was a narcissist from my mental health perspective. He's a narcissist, full blown, 1000%, and not mentally fit to make sure everyone's safe. So that's my take. That's what I got about that. And my takeaway is I like slowing down. Maybe this is a new thing for me, is just to talk really slowly all the time and just see how that goes for my brain. Not to annoy you, Ariel, but you know, just to like slow it down.
Okay.
Because you can think better to slow down.
Thanks, Erica. Okay, Kimberly, what's your takeaway? We're a couple minutes over, so I want to, as you slow down talking.
I just love everybody.
Love you. I love you, Kimberly. I love you, Kimberly. Stay safe. Holly, what's your takeaway?
Thank you for all the feedback. And I mean, I started off the conversation, so I feel so much love here and support. Despite everybody's varying opinions, I think this is the way it needs to be done. So thank you.
Ariel, thanks, Holly. And I'm sending your husband so much love, so much love, so much love, so much love. I'm seeing him well and healthy as fast as possible. Go, Ariel.
Well, I think that I already said, you know, I'm in the inquiry. I made a choice to get a vaccine because of, just because of that inquiry, because of science. I don't know. I just decided it was the best thing for me and myself and the greater good. My word for today is passion. My takeaway is passion. I mean, how could it not be? I kind of jumped in the middle of it, and I'm glad that everybody here is able to be free and sovereign beings and plugged into their passion.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Melanie, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway. Okay, so the word that comes to mind is compassion, and being able to let people speak what they need to speak. I think that that's what's important right now. I think that that will heal the hate, because I have to say, even just listening to a couple people, I noticed that after they got everything out that they needed to say, there was a calmness, a calmer presence afterwards. And I think that's important. Sometimes you just need to say what you need to say.
Yeah.
So, and being able to listen and be compassionate and listen to other people's points of view. And yeah, that's my takeaway.
Wow. All right, Stephanie, I don't know if you've heard enough to have a one word out, but jump in there if you want to give us your 2 cents.
I just know how all of this insanity has affected me and my business and my life. But I am trusting. It's growing me closer to God. So that's the only thing I could say. And here I see your father in the house. Dr. Halbert's, 2 Halbert doctors in the house. All right, I'm out.
All right. Okay, well,
Hey, Erica. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, everybody.
so my takeaway from this call is I feel so much gratitude. Like I feel like we really are getting to be authentic and real with each other. And one of my famous sayings is say what you mean without saying it mean. Say what you mean without saying it mean. And also asking questions instead of telling, and making no assumptions, instead seeking understanding. So I so love and appreciate you guys showing up. I so love and appreciate your passion and everybody tolerating each other's passion. Because sometimes when we're learning to say what we mean without saying it mean, sometimes we say it mean. You guys get it? So while we're learning how to do this, sometimes we swing and somebody has to be the one that's compassionate enough to let the person do the venting, like Melanie was saying. So I am just so grateful for your brains. I'm so grateful for your hearts. I'm so grateful for your love, and I'm so grateful for your time. So thanks for showing up. We'll do this again in 2 weeks if anybody wants to play. And we'll see what shows up then. Anybody have anything else to say?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for providing this space.
Yeah, thank you. This has been really, really awesome.
Thanks.
Especially to have a doctor here to can speak on that part. too.
Yeah, Dr. Z.
Thank you, Doc.
Yep.
We're having a fashion show in 23 minutes if anybody wants to come.
A fashion show.
You know, like Tabby fashion show. I'll send Dr. Beth the link. She could send it to you.
No. Don't send it to me. I'm getting ready to jump in another meeting.
Okay,
but,
bye.
But send it out. You can put it on Dance Party. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Nice meeting. Bill, you probably can't come to the fashion show. I'm sorry. It's
He's
not for you.